Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I wanted to go over everything that is messed up, everything that's wrong with the truck on my 6.0 here. So just coming around the outside here, not a whole heck of a lot. And I will say, this is a bunch of little nitpick stuff that I've noticed from driving the truck. It's nothing that really prohibits me from driving it. It's just a bunch of stuff that's wrong with the truck that I intend to fix. So with that being said, we'll start back here. That's where I'm currently standing, and the first of which is going to be that airbag. So on this truck we have these bags that the previous owner installed, and they come back to these little valves here by the license plate. I don't know if these lines leak or what's the deal, but this airbag specifically will leak down over, overnight or something. So that's kind of one of those things we need to get addressed. Now another thing, there's a couple things here on the back of the truck. One of which being, if you can't see, we have one license plate light that is missing. So I put LEDs in here. Y'all should know that from a couple months back. But this one would never work. There's something with the wiring or the plug itself. So we need to get that addressed. I need to order some more of these covers, holders, whatever you want to call them, to get that replaced. And as you can see, my nice dent in my rear bumper there that somebody added for me. But another thing here on the rear of the truck is these parking sensors don't work. So I need to get those switched out, but I do want to do a 08 plus bumper on this thing. Now it's another thing that I would like to replace this tailgate with the 08 plus bump, or the tailgate as well. Now this thing is loose as can be. So yeah, and sometimes if you get it too far over, it won't shut all the way, or it'll hit on the pins. So it's kind of annoying. But on the outside, or for the rear, I guess, that's really about it. As far as some things that's wrong with this. Another thing of which being the back window. So this has the slider, obviously, but the slider doesn't work. So in the back, I would show y'all, but there's a bunch of junk back there. Somebody has cut the cable to this back window, so at some point or another I need to replace said window. Now I'm gonna unlock this and turn these on. There's another thing that I need to fix. Headlights. So as y'all know, I have switchbacks. Well, one of them has decided to go on brake. Now, sometimes you can kind of knock on the headlight or hammer on the hood and it'll come on. Turn signal works fine. It's just the running light doesn't function. So need to order some bulbs for that. We'll get to that eventually. But let's hop in here. We'll turn this off. Another thing, there's a couple things in here. First of which, if you notice, there's no headliner. I need to finish that. I really do. But one of the biggest things wrong with the interior of this truck is the seats. So you can see this one is cracking. It's cracking up here as well. And I mean, this one, seams are splitting. The previous owner glued this one. So it's just little stuff that needs to be dealt with. That side over there has a hole in it and it's coming apart on this seam here. But I mean, it's a 16-year-old truck now. But let's hop in this thing because it is scorching out here, and we'll go over a couple more things. All right, so if you wondered, truck starts fine, runs great, completely cold start. Well, cold start, 94 degrees, but this thing's been sitting here for almost 24 hours now, but thing fires up amazing. We'll turn these down, that way it's not blowing out the microphone. But in here, a couple things that you can see. The steering wheel obviously needs recovered. I mean, again, it's a 16-year-old leather wrapped steering wheel, so obviously, you know, it's going to have some wear and tear. I would like to get that fixed at some point in time. And also, for those of you who know, yes, I realize this is the wrong airbag for this truck. These trucks should have an actual badge, not just cut in like this. This is actually an airbag from one of those trucks. But yes, I do realize that. And I also do realize that airbag is the wrong color. I believe the previous owners of this truck had wrecked it at one point in time. But moving on from that, I mean, there's not a whole heck of a lot wrong with the interior of this thing, like I had mentioned. If we'll scoot over here, we'll turn the dome lights on. You can see this dome light here doesn't work. I'm gonna clip it in sometimes because it does fall out every time you shut the door. There's another one in the glove box that was originally up here, and you can see kind of these little prongs up in here are failing. But I mean, again, I don't remember how much those are, but we will get some new ones when the headliner is finished. But I mean, in here, like I said, the rear window does not work. The motor works, but like I said, the cable, I guess the previous owner had cut the cable for some reason, or maybe accidentally or something, I don't know. And then obviously our sensors don't work. So every time you put the truck in reverse, it turns these sensors off. You can't turn them back on because, again, they don't work. Another thing of which is kind of weird is our tow haul does not work at all. I know these trucks had an issue about the trailer brake, something or another about the connector or the wiring harness or something or other. So it could be that somebody has just removed a fuse or something or other for that, which it's not a big deal. It's not like we tow this thing every single day, and then when we do tow, it's generally not super heavy, so never really needed it, I guess. Another thing, it's a little small thing. If you follow the channel, if you've seen me before, kind of hammer on the dash. That is because my dash lights here sometimes won't work. Now you can, I know y'all can't see that at all, but you see that light up? I don't know what's the deal about that. Some people I've talked to before had said that it could possibly be the cluster itself needs replaced. Some people have said, oh, it's just a loose pin or, you know, something. But we will get to that at some point. Now, I mean, obviously, windows all work flawlessly. As you can see there, that all works. Door locks work fine. This thing works. Everything in here works, right? Except for, like I said, those few little things here and there. Now, one very weird thing is, first of all, I will point out, we finally got the air conditioner working in this truck. If you've kind of followed through the progression of this truck, the AC never worked. We finally got it working about a month and a half ago or so, and it's been excellent. It's been amazing. Have had no issues up to this point, except for figuring out what temperature works best, because I've never had a vehicle with climate control, but it's not a big issue, obviously. Now, one other thing, as y'all know, that I installed this little box down in here to be able to hook up auxiliary for the radio, as you can see here. Now, one thing about this is playing on regular radio, I'm not going to turn that on for copyright reasons, but playing regular radio, all the speakers work fine. If I put it on auxiliary, only that speaker works and maybe the one in the back. Nothing on this side works, which is very odd. Now, I know I need to get a Bluetooth radio, make my life much easier. I do want to do that sometime or another. I'm just trying to figure out what all we need to make this work and keep my steering wheel buttons, because that is one thing that I have come to love in this truck, is the steering wheel buttons on everything. So we do need to figure that out. I've talked to a couple people, haven't really gotten like a straight answer yet, but I would like to do that at some point in time, and I would like to upgrade speakers, maybe put a sub box back here behind the back seat, a couple other things like that. But what else? Really, I think that's about it. This thing rattles. I figure that's because there's no headliner here, because the headliner will normally sit between here and keep that from rattling. But I mean, really, I guess that's it. I mean, if you want to get little nitpick stuff, I did crack the door panel here, because that is another thing that's very weird. So with this seat particularly, if I sit flat against the seat, I'm kind of looking about right through here, which is very weird. So you kind of gotta sit a little crooked to look straight. I don't know if all these trucks are like this. I wouldn't think they would be, but being as this seat sits crooked, my leg over here is sitting off in a hole, and ultimately put a little divot here in my door panel and cracked it right here. So some point in time, I'd like to get that fixed back up. We're gonna figure out what I want to do with these seats. This was already here, just a little scratch, but I've been looking at doing either buying new seats or reupholstering these. And if we reupholster these, I'd like to figure out why this particular seat sits crooked. But we will figure that out at some point in time. That's just something that's a little bit annoying and a bit uncomfortable on a long road trip or a long drive. This heated seat doesn't work. I imagine, because it's very annoying on this truck, that the heated seat button is up here on the corner of the seat. So every time, I know like in this particular seat, every time you get in, you generally always hit that button, turn the heated seat on, and when it's 95 degrees outside with like a 70% humidity like it is here in Arkansas, it's generally not the most pleasant thing in the world, is turning your heated seat on. But I figured somebody probably unplugged this one, but I don't know that for sure. We'll look into that at some point. But obviously, currently, we don't need heated seats, if you know what I mean. But I reckon that's about it. There's a couple little, exterior things here and there. The truck's got its dents, it's got its scrapes and scratches, and got some Bondo work back there that wasn't very good. I'm trying to think what else. We have a little bit of an oil leak. I don't know if I mentioned that. But there is an oil leak up here on the motor, kind of right in the middle of the top of the engine. I think, after doing some talking to a couple different people, I think what the deal is on these trucks, the oil cooler has a little O-ring or something or other on the bottom of the cooler, and I think that O-ring or whatever it is, gasket, whatever it may be, is leaking a little bit and it's rising. So I have a upgraded EGR cooler for this truck that I would like to get installed at some point in time. No, it's not a delete. It's not a delete, trust me. I've heard lots of horror stories about cracking up pipes, so we're not deleting this cooler, we're going to upgrade it. But anyway, when we upgrade the cooler, probably going to go ahead and pull the oil cooler out and check the O-rings, the seals, the gaskets, all that stuff, and make sure everything's 100% ready to go. We do drive this thing a lot between myself and my grandpa. My grandpa, now that we have the AC fixed, he likes driving this truck more than his truck, and has been talking about getting himself a 6.0. So, well, that might be a thing that happens in the future, I don't know. But we both love this truck. I love this truck, he loves it. Like I said, he's been talking about getting one. One other thing that I don't know is probably specific to this truck or not is this particular windshield wiper. That one doesn't do it, this one does, but it skips. So I'm not going to turn it on, obviously, but when you get to about here, it'll start skipping until it goes back down below here or so. It's kind of annoying. It's just something kind of gotten used to. The only way it doesn't do it is either off or all the way on. So I don't know what's the deal with that. Sometime or another, I'm probably going to order some new windshield wiper arms and see if that fixes our issue or not. And then the last thing that I can think of, it's kind of self-inflicted, kind of not. This truck does need some stuff redone on the front end. It needs new shocks all the way around. I do know that because these are what looks to be the originals from 2006 with 241,000 miles on them. So obviously they need replaced. The steering stabilizer also needs replaced. I have new shocks in the shop, just need to get them on. That's why we've been working on the white truck, trying to get it done. That way, if this truck has to sit in the shop for, a couple days or a week or something other, I still have something that I can drive. And then also, if you've seen the last video about the tires, or maybe it'll be the next video, either way, if y'all see the tire video, I had mentioned that the front axle sits a little bit to the driver's side, and that is due to the leveling kit. So the track bar, factory track bar, no drop bracket, none of that. So factory track bar, and it's pulling the axle over, and then being that there's no radius arm drops, we also have a little more caster on the front axle. So that is something else that needs to be addressed at some point or another. But we are going to powder coat that lift, like I've mentioned several times. Just need to get the white truck going so we can get this in the shop, get it all tore apart, powder coat where we're going to powder coat, paint where we're going to paint, and we can do the rest then. But guys, I will say, I absolutely love this truck. Essentially, I'm making this video to kind of remind myself what we need to do with this thing, because I want to make this truck as close to perfect as we can. I know it's never going to be perfect, but I want to bring this thing kind of restoring, I guess, an old work truck. So that's kind of the idea here. But I want to keep this truck. I don't want to make it too nice because it's still going to be like a work truck, the daily driver. I plan to have this truck be the hauler for the white truck once it's finished, because if you know the front end situation on that truck, front end parts don't last very long. So I would hate to drive that very far with, you know, large wheels, large tires, adapters, spacers, all these moving parts on what seems to be like a Ford Ranger front end. Good job, Ford. But this truck is going to be like the work truck, so you don't want to make it too nice, but I do want to fix it and make everything as nice as possible for driving. But we're going to get there. But anyway, guys, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, or you're excited for some of the 6.0 content we have coming, please drop a like and comment down below. Smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope everybody has a great day. And just know, I want everybody to know this, I'm very grateful to have this truck. This was one of my dream trucks as a kid. When these come out, I love this body style, and I've always wanted one. So now that I have this one, I'm very happy to get to build one. So that's what we're working toward anyway. But anyway, guys, like I said, I will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching.